Hi guys, Sunday. Just uploaded the C4 brake pad video, and we're now back on the track. I just needed to get that job out of the way, and I thought, oh, why not? My mate Mark round the back was moaning at me because the last video was so short. So there you go, all for you, Mark. Mark is the guy that fights for longer videos for you guys, and he gave me a right earache. In fact, it's a bit grumpy, which came across grumpy. So grumpy. So that's what's going on at the moment. Now, shopping list for this job that we started out. Now, that battery took half a day yesterday and all night, and that one was dead empty. So whatever the heck it is, there is something really draining it, and I've got a theory now that I might have put one of those 12 volt converters in and didn't put it on a switch, so it's like permanently running. That's what I think is going on. I've now got to go and find the offending component. So okay, you probably can't hear me. So we need a battery lead, another switch over switch, piece of 3-inch flat bar if he's got any, and aluminium angle. Which I don't think he's got any left now. I think I've had it. So the battery lead is because I need to couple that switch up. The problem I've got with that switch, and I didn't explain this in the last video, is the lug on that side has snapped. I got it from the yard cheap because it was broken, but I don't like that wobble. I tried to drill in here and it finished it off. So yeah, that's kind of done. I think I got that on the wrong. I think I welded that on wrong anyway, to be honest with you. That's sitting a bit high, so when it does come to putting that on, I think it's going to miss completely. So I may have to remake that whole bracket, which would be a pain in the butt. But we need another lead to go off to there, to that battery. That links them two batteries together. Then we need to clean this filler off, and we need to get a piece of 3-inch bar coming down and some bits of angle to weld to the back of the bar so we can attach it to the underside of that steel plate, if you can see there. Now they're going to be riveted in because we're going to paint that bar up silver so it all blends in neatly, and I'll use self-tapping screws to whack it in there, and I'll probably put about 4 plates in place. I think 4 will do, up as far as that edge here, so it takes up that distance there. Fortunately that's beyond repair. I'll have to cut that out and redo it. So that's kind of how that's going to work out. Once we've done that, we've got to then, it's hot in here anyway, we then got to put a piece of aluminium angle over that whole area. 1 is because of all this damage here, 2 because I don't want to redo the locker. I don't really need to, and 3, I think it would look a lot tidier with a second piece of trim. But again, we're going to have to paint that aluminium silver, and we'll have to use some real wide rivets to lock it down, all depending on how big the angle alley is and whether I end up getting that brand new, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think he's got any. He usually smashes his alley up, which really annoys the hell out of me sometimes when I'm looking for long lengths and I can't find any. So I think we'll have to charge me grinder up and see what we can turn up. I also need a piece of flat bar about the same size as this as well to put on the actual lorry as we spoke about. So once we've done that, we then need to go over to here through my maze and tucked away untidily in this drawer somewhere. Not that one, not that one, not that one. Where'd I put them? That one. We've got 2 hinges left. There's 2 hinges left, so they're going to get bolted onto the lorry somehow, so we can lift that all the way over, and also heads somewhere around here. Once we've got that on, we'll mark out where that valve is, and we're going to, I think it will come about there somewhere. But I've got a camper door around here somewhere, one of those little utility doors, somewhere up in my shed loft. Oh yeah, I've got a shed loft, guys. I'll drag that down because I think that's already been painted, but it hasn't been lacquered. But that's all I'm planning to do this week on this, because I am hoping sometime, no we don't, I nearly did it again, I can't show you that trike yet. Sometime during the week, I'm hoping that the igniter will turn up eventually at some point. I mean, I'll get here eventually, I suppose. We can get that thing fired up, and then we can shunt that out as a finished job, and at the same time announce the new project that's come into my possession. When I say possession, it isn't quite mine yet. Not yet. It's here, hidden, but not in my possession as yet. That won't happen until the trike has been signed over document-wise. But I'm going to come back to the yard. I told you wouldn't have any of this stuff I was looking for. We've got a bit of flat. I'm hoping it'll work. I've got to clean it up. I've got that piece, which is the side of a lorry. I'll have to cut that down. There was a battery lead in here. There is a Durite battery isolator, and I randomly picked this up, which is an electrical fan. It's on 3-phase setting, but I'm going to convert it over to single phase, I hope. Came out of a boat building yard. I used to run the hoses through the centre of the boats to suck out all the fumes while they worked. This is going in the shed just so I can do a de-dust, and I may get another one if I can and put that in the ceiling and have a pipe run straight down to the bench so I can catch all the welding fumes. So that was my day this morning. There you go, that's the Durite. It's nice, it's good, and it's solid. And it's got a faceplate of stainless, so I'm just going to clean that up there, put it in at that angle, over the top of my homemade bracket, because my homemade bracket was so bad. That will hide that very nicely. And I've got a battery lead as well sitting under there ready, but I've got to put a new terminal on, which I have here, which is the one I took off the lorry. So we'll snip the wire and we'll thread it through, and we'll fill it with solder, and then lock the screws down on top. Hopefully that will be enough. I don't like those, I really don't like those terminals at all, to be honest with you. I'd much rather have one that you could clamp, because I actually do have a device that can do that. But if I try and clamp that, it's so thick it will just crush and break. So I'm kind of not going to bother. Well, that's job number one. A lot neater than it was before, but yeah, it's all linked up, just waiting for P-clips and whatnot. But I'm thinking about building some sliding trays, cutting that little lot out there and putting something in on the existing framework so I can slide the batteries right out, because they're a nightmare. And to be honest, I don't want to be faffing around climbing under this thing, do I heck? So yeah, one of the next projects is to do that. So there you go, the terminals are in, the metal's been purchased. I don't know if I should. Wow, it's been a funny old week. Monday, I went down the yard and got all my materials together, as you know. Tuesday, I decided to take my mother and the wife shopping.
she fell over in the shop, bruised herself up really badly to the point where I wanted to see her at the hospital, but she refused to go. Wednesday, so I had to sit indoors and watch her for a little bit on Wednesday because I was still concerned about her. Chap turns up and wanted a Jaguar floor pan made, 4 of them. It was actually quite enjoyable. So Wednesday and Thursday morning I made up his floor pans for him. Pretty good. Thursday afternoon I waited in all day for my buddy to turn up, and didn't do anything because the wife was in and out of the house and I wouldn't hear the door. He never turned up because the poor sod hurt his back. So it's Friday now. Friday. Well, I've just had to cut a tree down because I was concerned that the wind was going to have it, because the old roots, you can see the ground moving up and down, and I'm thinking, yeah, that ain't safe. So okay, we'll cut that down. So I've done that, and it's like mid-afternoon now, and we have finally, and for the record, so finally we are now doing some work on the van, and it's gone really dark on the camera. I do apologise. How do I turn this down so I don't get copyright? Because that's what'll happen. Right, let's just turn that down so we don't get copyright. Yeah, so Friday, we are now finally, Friday afternoon, into the van bit now. So I've wire brushed. Just for the record, the wife is fine. She's a bit bruised up, but she's fine. Anyway, I've just wire brushed, sanded the rust off. Used my new fan to blow it out. Actually, that works really well, but we need to filter that because it chucks it everywhere. So I've drawn a line. This is a representation of the trim that I took off the truck. That's going to be the steel overlap. So we'll drill some holes in this, and we will run some flat bolts through or something in order to get it to solidly bolt to the side of the slide out. And then what I've got to do is now cut some of the angle iron that's left over and weld. Well, we do need 2 pieces on here for definite, 1 each side for the hinges, but I think I might put another 2 more in the centre area. So the hinge will, the angle will be welded in here and come out there. So that bit coming out here, which will be like that, that's the bit that bolts to the underside of the piece of steel that this gets bolted to. That should then take up the space. I mean, that looks about right for the angle iron I cut out. Once we've got that in, we can then hammerite that all up. That's all I'm doing with it. I will hit it with a wire brush before we do that, so we can get some of these pits out. But we've got some primer here and some silver, and we will hit that all over, dry that outside, let that dry for the day, and then we'll drill some holes and bolt that in position, and hopefully that repair will be done on the slide out. Then I've got some aluminium which has got to go through my Evolution chop saw. That's going to make some noise. That's going to get cut into an angle alley, and that will get glued and screwed over the top of this lip here. So we've got to take out all of those rivets, and then we can slide that on as a sleeve, and we're not going to do anything with it like polish it, because it's already got that what they call it, anodized sort of surface to it, which I'm quite happy to leave. It just needs a bit of a scrub. So that's my plan with that. And then we can hinge the locker onto this frame. But we do need to make a couple of props coming down so as we can actually lock the door to the slide out, because now that we've done this is attached to the slide out. So when you press the button on the slide out and it moves out, what we don't want is this locker being attached to the main chassis. It's going to bend everything up, and I will be forgetful, and if somebody borrows the truck for their own uses, and I'm not ruling that out, they might not know about it. So we are going to have to come off there with some bars. The wind, as you can see, it's not possible anyway. Apart from down there, we don't really want to be bolting it to the framework. It's just not the right thing to do. But we do need the
to find a second structure to bolt to, because we've got to angle it up. That straight shaft's going down it on its own isn't going to be enough. It needs a cantilever to strengthen it, you know, like a gusset or something. And I don't want to bring the welder out here, so I don't really know how we're going to do it.
Okay, you've got a battery dyno, so I'll be brief. There you go, that's the aluminium trim. That should, if I got it right, slide straight over the top. So once we've got rid of these rivets, it should go straight over the top with no problems whatsoever. So that's ready, that just needs to dry, and we've got the piece of steel. Unfortunately, I haven't had enough time on my hands to actually put some filler over that and hide those big deep rust blocks, but we can always come back to this at a later date if we need to. And yes, there is some wire stuck in the primer, sorry, paintbrush that fell apart on me. So this eventually will need to be redone. Pulling the locker off won't be too much of a hindrance. It will just be a case of 2 bolts or 3 bolts or 6 bolts, and we can drop it and then we can deal with that. I'm already debating, if I'm honest, about respraying the truck, because I'm now no longer happy with the colour that's on there at the moment, the silver. I just don't like it. I've gone right off it. Didn't go the way I planned, so yeah, that may get changed at a later date. So we're going to put this on charge and we'll let that paint dry and then we'll move on. That trim piece is in, completely seals that up now, so all them rotten holes are gone, but we are left with some gaps, but not a lot I can do about those apart from add more rivets. I don't really want to. Rivets are ugly at the best of times. Now we've got 2 hinges to stick on here at some point. I won't get past without breaking one's neck. There we are. We've got these, but as you can see, they exceed massively where they bolt to. Here you go, Saturday morning, I've just hinged it. I've put some heavy bar behind. We've got to now hang this thing. Eventually I'm going to take those bolts out because they're not stainless and they will leave rust dribbles everywhere. So we're going to put some stainless in there eventually. But we've also got to take it off again. 1, I want to repaint it, and 2, I want to paint the back end as well so it's protected a little bit better. By removing the hinges, you see, I can get underneath that fiberglass and just treat all of that rusty metal, because I didn't do it. I got lazy, simple as that. You know my feelings on all of this now. So we have this bar that's now ready to go on. So I think now it's a question of getting out the front, offering this up, make a decision to whether I'm going to cut those corners out or not. You'll see what I'm talking about, but I may try and get the slide out, but with the battery not being in there, that might be a bit tricky. Yeah, we've got some trim coming down that's going to be in the way of that, because I've taken that to the furthermost edge on each side, you see, instead of it being on the inner edge of that trim, because I didn't want a gap. So I guess we'll see how this pans out. So we're going to run some roofing bolts through those holes and some self-tappy roofing sheet metal bolts through the bottom. We've already drilled the holes this side, we ain't done nothing for the other. I might drill a 3mm hole or something just to give them a bit of an ease, and then they can be whacked in. And then once we've done that, I'm not showing you the trike, I'm having to put camera up. When we've done that, we then need to line this all up, mark out where these holes are. This is heavy, I don't know how I'm going to do that at the moment with 2 of us. I might have to get him in the middle of that and hope for the best, but I can't even use a trolley jack because there's nothing supporting that fiberglass at the bottom. I'll just crush it and crack it, and it's already separating. So no, I don't know what we're going to do there, not a clue. Okie there you go. But there is something I've missed out, and I've missed it out deliberately because I don't have the equipment to do it. Sealants and stuff like that. We've got to put a locker door in there, quick access, so we can get to the switch that we previously fitted, which is down there. And at some point I would like to paint this all up behind. It's starting to get a little rusty, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that is the finished job. For now. I need to get the welder out now at some point, and I need to put some uprights in. But I think what I'm going to do, because this has got to come off again anyway, I'm going to try and get hold of one of those levers that I've got around the side of the lorry. Let me just show you. Here on my generator room, if there's any of them left, I need one of them. With the pins and everything, because the two drop down posts, which will be triangulated up, gusseted, that lever will go in to wherever. I'm not even going to sit there and cut it down, cut it to lengthen it. I'm going to literally, whatever comes will go in to wherever it goes in, and then the two rods that go down will go to where they need to go, as long as they don't hinder the battery, either battery, when I do the slide. So yeah, that is it. Now when we put a slider out, which I can't do at the moment because I blew the battery up, those things up there are too powerful, and fried the battery, didn't I? So yeah, new leisure battery required. We've also got to neaten up this area here because that's quite devastated. Probably put a plate behind that and then refill. But yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's come out pretty good. There's more bolts to go in. Not going to do them yet because I want to take that off, clear the filler, and then that way when it comes to making the uprights, I might even be lucky enough to take that off, take it back into the workshop, make the alterations necessary. We've still got the bolts to put in underneath as well, but at the moment, as it sits, I'm happy to end this one as you see it. Has come down a little lower, it's ½ inch lower to the ground. We didn't want that. It's low enough as it is now, but we can get on and off the curbs without cracking it. So people were saying to me online, it's too low, you're going to have trouble with it. Well, to be honest with you, it ain't no lower than the local buses that are running around here, and they cope with speed bumps and so forth. So at this point in time, I'm not going to fret over it, but I am happy with it. I'm very happy with it. So with that in mind, I think we're going to end this video. So I'd like to say thank you very much for your likes and shares, and very much so for the likes on the previous video, because as I said, that boosts the old confidence. Get out of the way of that noisy sod. It does boost one's confidence when listen to me, one's confidence. I just want to say thank you very much for all your likes you've given on some of the previous videos. I put an announcement up on the last video which wasn't relevant to anything that I normally do because it was brake system on a car. I said Cop Motorcycle Show, which is in September. If anyone was interested, put 3 comments up and I'll do the video. Well, I've had the 3 comments, so yeah, we will do a video on Cop Motorcycle Show and try and get as many bikes in as I possibly can, custom jobs. I don't think I'm going to be speaking much in it, so I might just play some music through as I'm going around the bikes, or I'll leave it just as an open video so you can hear the people's voices in the atmosphere and all the rest of it. So yeah, so with that in mind, I'm going to disappear now. So thank you very much for your likes, thank you very much for your shares, and we'll see you on the next video, for which I have no idea what we're doing.